All right, Benny. So this is the first in my broadcasting career here.
What is the first?
So this is a first because not usually do I book guests in this fashion.
I had to earn my spot, I guess.
You had to earn your spot, which we're gonna get into here in a little bit. All right. So I want to start with this right here. This is Bo Templin Show. I have a beautiful guest coming on, Ben Sorenson. So I want to talk about the last 3 weeks and the Templin household versus UCLA because it has not gone well. Not gone well in the slightest.
I mean, UCLA has not done well recently.
That's okay. That's okay. You haven't done well recently, but you've done pretty well against the Templins. So last week I lose in fantasy football to Big Phil, friend of the show. He'll be coming on any podcast now. I have no doubt about it.
Yeah, big Phil fan.
Yeah, as is many people. So I lose to Big Phil last week. And then this week, UCLA is playing Washington State in football. And my baby sister, who's a sophomore at Washington State now, she has mom and dad in town, so they go to the game, and it's the largest comeback in Pac-12 history.
Hey, first one of the season too, baby.
Yeah, first win of the season for the UCLA Bruins, so that's how it started. And then, yesterday, I lose in fantasy to another UCLA member, yourself.
Yes, sir.
We put some extra stakes on the game.
Yeah, I've been meaning to come on this podcast.
It was the old, I'll take you out to lunch, but if I win, I get to come on the podcast and talk about it. And that's how we ended up right here. Ben Sorenson, welcome to the Bo Templin Show.
Hey, I appreciate it. I'd like to thank your boy MVS, Valdez-Scantling, for catching a big touchdown, and Mark Ingram. Saquon Barkley got hurt, and I still whooped you. So, we move on. We're on to week 4, as they say. So
if that's the brunt of the trash talk, I think I'm gonna live. I have somewhat decently thick skin, and I'm looking at this from a positive, optimistic outlook here. I have the 4th most points for in a 10-man league, and I have the most points against.
I just don't really want to hear your excuses, Bo. I just know I cooked you up and out, and if you want another one, come back next week. Really, there's nothing more to say than that. Pick better players, maybe, but I think it's a little late. But hopefully the season turns around for you, man. What are you, 0-3? 0-3? 1-2?
1-2. 1-2. Easy there, Tiger.
It sounds like bottom of the division, but it's all right. It's all right.
So, Benny, you're a Minnesota guy. You already brought up the NFC North, and I think that's a great place to start. Let's talk about the Purple People Eaters here a little bit.
Yeah.
We got the Lions starting strong. We have the Packers 3-0, and we're kind of still waiting for Aaron Rodgers. The Bears are right there, but there's some buyer beware with Mitch Trubisky. And then you have the Vikings who get to 2-1 after beating the Raiders. And that run game right now looks pretty rock solid up in Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, Dalvin Cook's kind of the guy right now. He leads the league in yards, and it's finally nice to see a Mike Zimmer team with a run game that can impose its will. So the defense can play good early, and then you can just hand the rock off to my guy, Dalvin Cook. And he can just churn away the clock, churn up yards, and score touchdowns. So it's refreshing to see. He keeps the ball out of Kirk Cousins' hands as much as he wants to give it to the other team. So, I think the Lions are pretenders, as they typically are. They'll fade. And I think Aaron Rodgers looks older than he has in the past, and all of a sudden some of the throws not looking quite the same. So I think the division's vulnerable. I still think that Bears defense is one of the best units in football, even without Adrian Amos. So, it's NFC North's a good division, man, but it's really nice to see the run game come through for the Vikes.
You want to talk about the run game right now because Dalvin Cook really isn't getting, they're not trying to get him that involved in the passing game. Week 1 against Atlanta, it's 111 yards on the ground. Week 2 against the Pack, 154 on the ground. 110 on the ground against the Raiders. it's really kind of rare, I feel like, in today's NFL to see a guy who's so run heavy and not that involved in the passing offense.
And it's not even that he can't do it. I really think it's the coaching and Zimmer wanting to keep the clock moving. And, they burnt a first-round pick on a center, a big Garrett Bradbury. And I think the philosophy was we're going to, spend capital on this and fill a need, and we're going to run the ball. And we're going to control the clock and not turn it over. Because when that defense doesn't have to get put in high-leverage situations, you get a ball turnover late in your own zone, like you got to – all of a sudden your back's already against the wall, you've just been out on the field. Zimmer wants to control the pace of the game, and the run game is a really strong way to do that. And it's nice to see Dalvin just churn up yards. They know he's going to run the ball, and it's not even him. That Madison kid, I think he's like a Boise State guy. He scored a touchdown last week too. He's running the football too. So it's nice to see the O-line after all this time be better, and it's discouraging that Cousins still turns over the ball with those guys being as good as they are. So hopefully they can turn it around, but Dalvin he just plays at a higher speed. He's looked at, and it's at this level in the NFL, it's impressive to see. I'm excited to see what they do moving forward.
I think next week could be very telling here for both the Vikings and the Bears as they play each other. I mean, what does Minnesota have to do to escape out of that one with the W?
They just got to take care of the football. Cousins can't turn the ball over. I think when it comes to defensive units, if they force Mitch Trubisky to be a quarterback, as your Green Bay Packers more famously put, you keep him in the pocket, and that really starts with your linebacking core. Anthony Barr was out this last week, but Eric Kendricks was in. And that's former Bruin, another UCLA guy, who goes sideline to sideline, and when Mitch Trubisky tries to escape, that's who stops that. So it's just staying disciplined. Daniil Hunter's the guy, too. And so that defense I'm not worried about. It's just making sure that Chicago's defense can't take the ball from you and making sure that you can keep moving down. Because they got good guys like Kendall Fuller, but Minnesota's skill guys, you got Thielen, Diggs, they're going to get separation. They're going to score. They can score points.
I think it really benefits Minnesota. The way they've played these first 3 weeks is actually probably the blueprint to beat the Bears, right? Keep it on the run, keep it on the ground, don't let the ball up in the air too much. And if that's the core of your offense, at least you can stay somewhat involved in the game and not let that Bears defense be the ones to beat you, right? At least it's still in your control a little bit.
Exactly. I mean, just like kind of Denver laid out the blueprint a little bit. It's just like, hey, we just need 2 touchdowns. We can win this football game. Our defense is good enough, and we just move the football and short stuff, and you can just kind of trudge down the field. You got to be patient. Because if you try and take it all at once, they can pin your ears back, and you got Khalil Mack who's just going to get after you no matter what you do. So it's about not giving them points on the special teams and defense. And, I trust Kirk Cousins to score 2 touchdowns, hopefully. And with Dalvin Cook on his side, it improves their chances a whole lot better.
Something else I want to get to, Benny, here with the NFL, and because my NFL season right now is really going great. As the season winds down here until the start of NBA, I'm really starting to honker in. You know what I mean?
Oh, hey, I've been locked in since mid-August.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my attention and focus level might be altering here really, really shortly. We're 29 days away from the NBA season. But with this NFL season right now, we're seeing this huge trend, right? The young quarterback. That's what everyone wants to talk about right now. It's this huge gap between what we previously knew about the NFL, the Breeze, Roethlisberger, Rodgers, Brady era, right? Phillip Rivers probably in that discussion. And now we've got Patty Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson. But I wanted to bring this up with you, all right? Because you have all these young quarterbacks. But there's also a big change in the offensive systems that are being used. So I want you to explain to a novice like myself, perhaps, what is the bigger difference? Is it this young quarterback running gun free play style? Or are they really encased into this system that and now it's more reliant on the offensive coordinator to come up with a really creative playbook?
I think it's a combination of a few things. You got the different blueprint like Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray, where you actually take the guy with the offense in mind. If they have the old coach from last year, they probably don't take Kyler Murray one. But if you're going to institute a college-style offense, you've got a guy with a proven track record of success with it, won a Heisman with it. You might as well roll with it. The guy you can clearly trust with the football. But then I feel like on the other end, there was a Sean McVay proven blueprint with Jared Goff. Is that if you are a smart enough offensive guy, you're in the ear of this young quarterback, you can be his mind. And as long as he can make the throws and go through reads, he can succeed. As long as, coach is chirping it in his ear. That's why in the Super Bowl, when the Pats move late and, Sean McVay's gone, all of a sudden Jared Goff looks a little lost. So, I think that style created a blueprint for the rest of the league that we can get away with this to a certain extent. You get to the high level, Patty Mahomes, that guy is best when the play breaks down. But Jared Goff is best when he executes his offense flawlessly and, Cooper Kupp is wide open in the corner of the end zone because he knows where to look because Sean McVay created a great scheme. So, I still think there's talent disparity, but I think there's now a blueprint for the league moving forward.
Ben, can you maybe do something here for me, all right?
Yeah.
Don't look at the next 6 weeks, okay? Don't look at the next 6 weeks. Maybe don't even look at this season. But over the course of the next 3, 4, 5 years, and the names that I just dropped among those young quarterbacks, other than the Super Bowl ring, what is one of the quarterbacks or what are the better quarterbacks going to do that the other quarterbacks don't? What's going to separate the better half from the weaker half in this discussion?
As far as the discussion, hardware, for the most part, Patrick Mahomes is on the chance of a little bit of history. If he wins back-to-back MVPs, and pending injury, and now that Saquon Barkley's hurt, I feel like there's really not an offensive player in the league that's as dynamic, that is, second quarter, 4 touchdown passes, that just flips a switch and this game is over. This game is over. So, if he does that, the type of people who've done that, back-to-back MVPs, are like Favre's, Manning's, Joe Montana's, like Jim Brown. I think that's it. So, that level is going to separate Mahomes, and I think his play. For Dak, he'll never be able to achieve that level of play. He's just not that style. For him, it'll be rings. And because he won't win a Super Bowl MVP, because if he is the man on a Super Bowl team, I don't think that team is good enough to win a Super Bowl. I think you need other guys like Zeke. Amari Cooper is really good, and their defense is legit. That Jalen Smith is really, really good. So, but as far as what's going to separate them, I feel like the yardage is going to go up just kind of how it has. Is there's a generation who are, Matt Ryan's like a top 11 yardage guy all time. But he's definitely not a top 11 quarterback of all time.
Never.
So it's a generational increase. And, the play with the new pass interference rules, it favors the offense as always. And, I'm a defensive guy, so I like that. At least the defenses are just going to have to adjust and figure out a way to deal with these guys. But the ones who can do it consistently for a long time is who are going to separate themselves. Like, I don't know about Deshaun Watson. I think he's really, really good, but how long can he do it? Cam Newton's almost out of the league because he's just falling apart.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. That's my boy right there, all right? Don't talk about my boy Blue like that.
Deshaun Watson's going down a scary path, and he might have 1 or 2 shots at greatness, win an MVP, or he might, win a Super Bowl, but I just don't, the greats, Breeze, Brady, Big Ben, they did it for so long. That's what really it's going to take. They did it for so long.
Ben, last question for you here, all right? And then we got to wrap this up a little bit.
Yeah, sounds good.
In 2 weekends, all right? In 2 weekends, you have a choice. You're going to go to the movies, and you're going to make a decision. You can either see Ad Astra with Brad Pitt, which is just getting 10 out of 10, huge, movie of the year type buzz. Or you can go see Joker. Joaquin Phoenix, as much hype as we've heard in a long time. Todd Phillips, director of The Hangover. I've been all over this movie for a year and a half now. What movie are you going to see?
I mean, that's a tough choice. I'm probably going to get around to both of them at a certain point. But
as will I. But I want your first round pick.
I'm going to take Ad Astra. I just think the stage that Brad Pitt is at his career and who he is, his style, the silent, cool, calm under pressure. He doesn't have to be cheeky at this age anymore. He can just be who he is. And combined with an astronaut, you get space visuals. I mean, Tommy Lee Jones is fantastic. And it really just has all the makings of this, like, Brad Pitt planting the flag and being like, I am the Robert Redford of my generation.
Oh!
I am the man. Like, Leo is very good. He does these, but, like, when it comes to, like, you need someone to step up and deliver, it is me. And I will do it and make it look easy. High expectations.
High expectations. I understand that. You just successfully auditioned for a movie podcast here in the future.
Hey, I enjoy talking about this stuff just as much as you. I'm just too lazy to find an avenue to do it,
Well, that's what I'm here for, Benny. I really appreciate you coming on. Super pissed off that you whooped my ass this week in fantasy.
Yeah, well, pending a miracle.
But hey, I'm just saying, Benny, be careful down the season. Just be careful, because I'm not playing bad ball right now.
Hey, you came to talk smack to me, and I just handed you. I just show up. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Fair enough, Chief. All right, Benny. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll talk to you later.
Yep. Have a good one, Bo.
All right. Peace out, champ.